Hello everyone, welcome back to session 2. So as all good conference sessions intros go, I'm going to start with an interactive bit and ask you to do something. I want everyone here to cast their minds back to the 31st of August this year. What were you up to? Now, hands up if you were one of the 14 million people, according to Google, who were in a queue for Oasis tickets. I remember listening to the radio that morning and people were excitedly calling in to share their position in the queue. By the afternoon, that excitement had morphed into frustration, even anger, as people got to the front of the queue to discover the tickets were many times more expensive than had originally been suggested, or they'd sold out entirely at the venue they were after. So imagine that. You decide you want something. You go through quite an arduous, frustrating, time-consuming process to buy it, and then you find out it's more expensive than you originally thought. You might see where I'm going with this. There was outrage. Why? It's not fair. You can't say one thing and do another. That's just not acceptable nowadays, if it ever was. We live in an inclusive society, a land of equal opportunity. Every day, society moves towards being more equal, tolerant, and inclusive. It's not right to exclude people. Oh, hang on. I've just remembered I'm at an insurance conference. See, that's not really the way things work for us, is it? We like to ask questions, lots of questions, collect data, and analyse that data to make calculated judgments and then take decisions on whether someone can be included. We've been working like this for centuries. It's in our DNA. But should it be? I have 2 teenage sons. They have lessons at school on tolerance, respect, and acceptance. Their generation is going to grow up with a very different benchmark to those that have gone before. They've never asked me to explain protection insurance to them. Maybe, just maybe, they will one day. But if I had to, I can only imagine the looks and the eye rolls I would get. What do you mean people who sought help for their mental health might struggle to get cover? What do you mean you ask people to disclose suicide attempts or suicidal thoughts that they had decades ago? Isn't that normal? It's a good question, that. What is normal and who decides? So how do we, or will we, continue to be insurers in a society whose values have shifted dramatically and sometimes seems at odds with our MO? Have we been too actuarial to date? Do we need to be more human? My dad, Peter LeBeau, one of the founders of Protection Review, used to make fun of actuaries all the time, and here I am now, carrying on the family tradition. Before you dismiss that challenge, let's think about terminal illness benefit and the debate around how we treat claimants, potential claimants, in the last 12 months of the policy. Actuarial or human? To say nothing of the reputational damage to the industry when the press gets hold of one of our less favourable decisions. We can see these changes happening in society. We're going to hear a bit more about them from our first speaker. Isn't it time we started thinking about our response? At Protection Review, we aim to give you at least one light bulb moment. And if you haven't had one already, maybe, I said maybe, that's another Oasis reference for anyone who's counting them, you might during this session. And a reminder of the comments that Kevin made earlier about competition law, about the importance of adhering to competition law, but also being prepared to challenge ourselves. Will the answer be provided by technology? How many conferences have you heard that question posed at? Will we be able to harness technology to give us the data that we need to make better, more informed decisions quickly? How will we make sure that the product development ideas that we have to be more inclusive, IP for the over 55s, really are a good idea and don't come with the added bonus of hundreds of questions and ultimately a low acceptance rate? How can we take a more holistic view of people and behaviour? How do we make sure that we understand the difference between someone proactively using their value-added services to prevent ill physical or mental health, as opposed to someone who is a genuine risk? How can we use underwriting to accept more people? 3 strikes and you're out for IP. Really? Will this make sense to the customer of the future if we apply it as a hard and fast rule? Are we equipped to deal with a generation when neurodiverse conditions are more readily recognised and diagnosed? But Jo, I hear you cry, what's the alternative? You said yourselves we've been doing it that way for years. Well, yes, we have. Henry Ford is quoted as saying, if you always do what you always did, you'll always get what you always got. We need a vibrant, growing market with products that people want to buy and that they see the value of. We don't really have that by any stretch of the imagination, so maybe it's time to reconsider what we're doing. Will there be implications? Absolutely. I resisted the urge to say definitely maybe. What does it mean for advisors if everyone is charged the same? What does it mean for the industry? Is that the way to grow the industry? Is it a start? Is it time to find the conscience in our actuarial science? Our session today is going to explore what a diverse society means, including a look at some of the trends and how this will shape the consumers of the future. And we'll also consider what that could mean for us. Is there another way to do things? And if we choose to do things differently, what might the impact be on all of us and for consumers?